Welcome back to BVarsity Live here at the downtown offices of the Bakersfield Californian. Zach Ewing, Trevor Horn with you, and we are joined now by, we had South High Soccer, which has done a tremendous job building their program. Now we talk to Aaron Wherry, coach of Golden Valley Soccer, and his biggest star, Julio Fuentes, who's the #2 seed at the 182-pound bracket in the Yosemite Divisional wrestling tournament that begins tomorrow in Lemoore. So it's obviously a big, not even a month anymore, 3 weeks ahead now for wrestling, culminating with the state championships, Rabobank Arena, March 6th and 7th, which, of course, we will be all over at BVarsity Live. But this is and we talk wrestling, Trevor, sometimes, and we talk a lot of Bakersfield High, and you can't help it because they've got so many great wrestlers, and a lot of the great wrestlers in town, that's where they end up. But this is a fun story. And, Aaron, I want to start with you, Coach. When you took over Golden Valley Wrestling, what year was that?
We opened in 2003.
So you were the original coach.
I'm
okay?
the only coach.
I wasn't sure if there was one
had,
a couple years before.
No,
you.
just me.
What has it been like? Because I know at some point that program, I mean, you had to build from scratch, and you're in a town where, again, the best wrestlers, they will. I'm not even insinuating anything illegal. They will move to BHS districts so that they can be drillers and be a part of that program. How have you fought that? How have you been able to build up Bulldog Wrestling?
Yeah, it's a tough one. When we started, coming from Iowa, I just assumed I opened the wrestling room doors and everybody shows up. That first year was not that at all. And, so it was tough. And it's been a long, hard journey. And, it's taken a lot of patience and a lot of hard work. And we have great kids there. They work so hard. I really think there's very few people that have any idea how hard these guys work to get where they're at. And, as far as fighting where they're going to end up, we've just really built, I think, a real family-oriented program. We're all family in there. We really care for each other. And, every one of those guys know if they need anything, we're all there for them. And, we've made some changes over the last few years that have really kind of pumped up the program. And, we've done a great job of, especially with my assistant coaches, spending a bunch of time with the guys and doing all these things, whether it's in the room or outside the room, to really, make that family-oriented vibe and really push towards, getting to where we need to go. And we built our little kids program too. My assistant coach, Joe Rojas, he's kind of taken over that program and really done a great job with that as well. And so I think these guys have had a lot of success with us, and they understand where we're going as a team. And there's no reason to go anywhere because we're on the upswing, and we've got a bunch of great guys coming up. We had a great success this year, and most of my varsity lineup this year is sophomores. Yeah. So we're not going anywhere. We've got this team built, and it's going to stay around for quite some time.
You were South Yosemite League champions at the league meet last week at East, and of course that's the next step. Is if you can get through the meat grinder this weekend, you go to East High for the Masters next week. Before we get to you, Julio, and Julio was the first state qualifier in Golden Valley history last year and is trying to get back. Was there a turning point when you talk about building the program? Was there something you can point to and say that's when? Was it Julio making state, or was it before that?
I think it's been a process all the way through. Like I said, we've really got a solid staff that stuck with me. When we first opened, I had assistant coaches kind of come and go as we first started out, just because of the newness of the school, and they had other job aspirations and those kind of things, so they didn't really it didn't work out. Like I said, Coach Joe Rojas and Jim Poteet, those are guys that have really helped this program out a lot. A big turning point, we just started to do things with these guys in the off season through our club team, and really working with them and staying after it. The other thing we started was FCA program on our campus, and we focus it with our wrestlers. So we do that as part of our practice now. And for those who don't know, I guess Fellowship of Christian Athletes is the FCA. And so these guys are in there, and we're talking about championship stuff and getting to the level we need to be at. But also we're talking about things beyond that. So I think these guys have discovered a purpose that is not just in the room, but everything else. Our goals in our program have always been, since day one, is be a great person, be a great student, and then be a great wrestler. Because without the first two, you'll never have the third one. So I think that focus of something greater than wrestling is just a part of what we do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's made a big deal.
Love it.
The other thing is, Julio's being the first guy. He's the blueprint. He showed all the other guys, hey, this could be done. And we've had tons of guys. We've had guys, in Masters be the, losing the last overtime to go to state. We've had guys all the way along. We've had guys each year, each team.
You kind of need that
so
breakthrough,
close.
don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah. And he's the guy. He's made the blueprint. And Julio's a guy to speak to our program and the strength of it. We only got him as a freshman, you know, and there's other kids that are coming right behind him in that same scenario. We got him as freshmen, and we have built them and taught them, and they've put the work in. And, you know, I think you look around and you talk the other question about kids from going other places and things like that. I don't think you see a lot of kids do what he's done or other guys on our team do what they've done starting just as freshmen. And
right.
Now our little kids program is coming up, and they've been very successful. We've got state champs on that level now too, and so I think you're going to see that continue.
Julio, we're going to let you talk now, man. We've ignored you far too long.
Yeah, please.
You started as a freshman at Golden Valley. Did you even think it was possible to make it to state? Was that even in your head? And how did that develop into reality?
I honestly didn't think I was able to get to that level. Like, it was a goal, but I never thought like I could get there.
Yeah, get right up on that mic when you talk, and when you did do it last year, still surprised at that point,
yeah.
or were you sort of I think I can do this before that?
No, I was surprised that I honestly made it through, and it was exciting.
So wrestling at Rabobank last year, big crowd coming out, 10 mats on the floor. What was that like?
It was scary, but exciting at the same time.
Do you think this year, now that you go through this process again, as we said, you're the 2 seed, so you're obviously expected to get through this. AJ Nevels of Clovis is the 1 seed. Pretty much, folks, for those who don't know, in any weight, if you don't know who the number 1 seed is, assume it's a Clovis kid. And then
10 of the 14.
Yeah, you're going to be, well, 10 of the 14 have top 2 seeds.
Yeah.
You're going to be, you know, better than 50-50 there. So anyway, point being, you're expected to get through this week and next week, and then you're expected to make a run at state. Is it a different feeling for you this year? Is that scariness gone?
Yeah, it's gone, and I'm just gonna get there, and hopefully I get there and I do good and place. And
that's the ultimate goal, is to get on the podium
Yeah.
at state at Rob. Be there that final night and do the March of Champions. That would be very cool. Real quick, we do have 6 local wrestlers seated in the top 2. Only 1 is a number 1 seed. That's JJ Figueroa of BHS at 126 pounds. Namonte Demison's number 2 at 120. Right behind Figueroa, Elijah Ozuna of Frontier, number 2 at 26. Carlos Herrera, who was on BVarsity about a month ago, he's number 2 seed at 132. And then who else do we have here? We have Julio at 182. And then up at heavyweight, Frontier's Jared Snyder is also the number 2 seed. So you get into this thing, you can't really worry about seeds, though, can you?
No. Seeds don't really mean anything. It's whoever shows up and wants it more than, yeah.
Now, have you wrestled AJ?
No, I never wrestled him.
You have not. So are you sort of looking forward to that if it does happen?
Yeah, I'm looking forward and kind of nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're watching him. I mean, it's got to be one match at a time in one of these things, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, anybody that's followed wrestling has seen, you know, guys that are 2-time state placers show up to our valley and get put out. I mean, it happens because guys are so hungry. This valley tournament is so tough. It is crazy. A guy like Julio, though, he's been solid the whole year. He's focused on where he wants to go, shows up and gets it done. Hopefully we see him in the finals, you know?
So refresh our memory, top 8 go through, correct?
That's correct.
From the Yosemite, top 4 from the small school, the Sierra Sequoia, which is up in Madera. And then those 12 in each weight will meet at East next week with the top 9?
10.
Is it 10 now? Okay, top 10 going through. So once you get to Masters, you're almost there. But you can't fall asleep either. But you're
right.
10 out of 12 go, and possibly 11 if you get an alternate. But this is the weekend. We're finishing in the top 8 out of 32 in these brackets is not an easy task. Aaron, tell us about some of your other wrestlers. I know you said you have a lot of sophomores this year. Anybody you sort of see, maybe an Eric Ponce, maybe a Jonathan Hunter, who could surprise us this weekend?
Absolutely. Anybody that's out there watching this and is going to that tournament, they need to be aware of both those guys. These guys, I believe our team is peaking at the right time, and those guys have come on in the second half. I mean, take a guy like Jonathan Hunter, shows up at CIT and just pinning every kid. The first couple rounds, I mean, he's in and out of matches in 40 seconds. You know, and comes up against the number 14 kid in the state, ranked 14 in the state, and is beating the brakes off of him.
Wow.
18-3, got caught at the end and got pinned. He had to sit out last year, had a broken hand, so this is only his second year wrestling. He made one little mistake. He'll never make that mistake again. Anybody that catches him, you know, this weekend, it's got a tough road ahead of him. Same thing with Eric. He's coming on right at the right time. He's only a sophomore, but super smart kid. He's doing a great job, and he's really getting after it.
And then I think Trevor and I's favorite name of any sport in the entire section has got to be your big heavyweight. Nimrod Quintanilla. What's Nimrod like?
He's a great kid. Awesome. And all our kids are great. You know, we talk about the questions you asked before, what's changed and what have we done, all that stuff, and our focus. And, you know, our GPA as a team, you know, I hate the dumb jock mentality because we put it to shame. I mean, 3.5 is our average on our team.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's a focus, and it has to be. Nimrod's a great kid. He's a big guy. When I first met him as a freshman, I was looking at his sheet. I go, "Wait, your name's Nimrod?" He goes, "Yeah, coach." I go, "Is
that his given name?
Yeah, yeah.
What does
That's
it go
awesome.
by?
He pretty much goes by. We call him Nim sometimes for short. I mean, but it's
No
funny
Roddy
because-
or anything like that?
Nah.
Have you talked to his parents about the story behind that? That's one we got to hear.
No, I haven't. His mom's great. She's real supportive. But the one thing that I did say to him was when I looked at that as a freshman, I said, "Hey, did kids used to make fun of you till, you know, when they saw that name?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Till you got big enough so they didn't make fun of you?" He goes, "Yeah." So, you know, he's a big teddy bear, but you get him on the mat, and he's an animal. He's tough.
Yep.
Julio, you obviously only started as a freshman, but how much pride do you have in this program now? I know, and we talk about the Clovis and the Buchanan and the Bakersfield, and rightfully so. They're great programs. How much pride do you have in Golden Valley as an up-and-comer?
A lot. Like, it's my school, my high school, and I'm proud to be there.
Yeah, so folks, look out for the blue and gold this weekend of Golden Valley. And real quick, Aaron, this is an interesting perspective because we love our wrestling in the Central Valley and in California. It's not quite Iowa, though.
No.
What differences do you see in Iowa wrestling culture versus California wrestling culture?
Yeah, it's different style. Out here is more technical.
Okay.
Back home is more physical. I mean, beat you up and in your face and a lot more on the attack. Some of the moves these guys do, and you have guys like, you know, like Abbas, who, you know, a lot of these young guys look up to, where he's doing these moves that, you know, you see it now more in the Midwest, but you would never see that kind of stuff. It's just not
a
the
Morgan
style.
McIntosh type. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So these guys, you know, have taken what people before them have done and added to their styles, and you know, the West Coast style is great. They do a great job out here, but yeah, it is just a little bit different.
And do you try to bring some of that Midwestern culture into that wrestling room?
Yeah, for sure. And we were lucky enough. We had we took our club team across the U.S. this summer.
Okay.
And Julio was one of the guys that went.
Very
But we
cool.
went to a tournament and a big competition over the summer and a camp in Iowa, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And made a big difference. Guys like you mentioned Hunter earlier, Jonathan Hunter. He's one of those guys in that competition, got beat by one of the state champs from Iowa, and got off the mat that time and said never again, and has worked so hard since that you know, that being there and taking that loss from that one kid in the off season even made a huge difference in his season this year.
That's very cool. Very cool. Hawkeye or Cyclone?
Neither.
Okay.
No, of course, Iowa Hawkeyes. That's the top of the food chain.
Or UNI
I went
Panther.
to UNI.
All
Yep.
right, all
Yep,
right,
I
all
was a
right.
Panther. So
I was going to say, my Mizzou. If you're a Hawkeye, my Mizzou Tigers are going to beat you for the national title.
not a chance.
No,
Not
don't
a
think
chance.
so.
No.
Number 2 in the country, baby. All right,
Not
Aaron,
number one.
Aaron, that's right. Not yet. Not yet. National duels this weekend, by the way.
Yep,
Aaron
yep.
Wherry, Julio Fuentes, thanks for joining us, guys. Good luck this weekend, the rest of the way. Golden Valley Wrestling, terrific program, terrific story there. We're going to be back. We'll talk some basketball seeding. Trevor has poured over these brackets and done the yeoman's work of coming up with some seeding predictions for Saturday. We're going to talk about that next on BVarsity Live. Thanks, guys.